What is this movie Body Swap? Haven't we seen bodies being swapped before? Come on, and who's this Jimmy Kustes guy?
Rob?
Is this a candid camera movie? Is he just playing himself? I mean, what are we doing talking about this movie?
Rob!
He's on this podcast, isn't he?
Cinemodities, late night movies with Rob, Zach, and Ben. This is a podcast about cinematic oddities where we discuss any media that is too bizarre, abnormal, or off-kilter for contemporary audiences. Occasionally, these projects gel. Most times, they crash hard into the realm of obscurity. Join us as we delve into the cult classic swamp. I'm not Zach.
And I'd shoot myself in the head if it meant it got your suit dirty. This is technically a part of Fansgiving, but I think it might transcend that and become its own very special episode because we, for one of the first times in a long time on Cinemodities, have a very special guest that can actually give us some insight on what we're discussing. Of course, I do it every time. I try and bury the lead of what we're talking about, but it's on the podcast title when people click on it on Spotify. Of course, we are discussing Body Swap with none other than the writer, producer, and star of it, Jimmy Kustes himself. Thank you so much for being here, Jimmy.
Well, thank you.
So I guess I have to say, starting out, we got this email from Jimmy. He actually reached out to us to come on Cinemodities. And we get a lot of, fake emails on Cinemodities or things that are clearly scams, or if maybe not clearly scams, that I have to do some research into it, and I find out that it's actually, not what it seems to be. Usually we respond to those with dick pics. I was about to for Jimmy, but it turns out Jimmy was a real person, and his desire to come on this podcast and promote his movie Body Swap was sincere. So here we are, talking with Jimmy about his movie. So I think before we get into some other intro stuff at the start, I have to ask you, Jimmy, how did you find Cinemodities? What made you want to reach out to us? If I could take a guess, I'm sure you said, did the search engine of, what podcasts talk about movies, and you forgot to click the box that said, exclude the bad ones, and we popped up. Is that something, am I on the right track?
I get a lot of podcasts saying they're so small and stuff, but I've been doing the small ones, and who knows if it really gets views, but it's fun to go on them, and I like to talk about movies, so I've been on a few that are I'm actually going on a second one called Classic Movie Reviews. I've already been on one, and this is a different type. It's got the same title, and they're both pretty popular. So it's I've just been doing a lot of different podcasts of movies.
Okay, right on. Well, we're glad you reached out to us.
What I'm hearing is that you're our biggest fan. Is that?
Yeah, I'm a total corporate whore for shilling my movie. But I got the email saying Rob liked it and he watched it, so I was like, that's always good when someone watches it.
Yes,
we actually both watched it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I do have to say, Jimmy, I love doing my research, and when we actually got this rolling that we were actually going to do this, I went and I looked for some other podcasts and interviews with you or about Body Swap. And I have to say there was one, I won't name names because what they did was an atrocity and shouldn't be allowed, but one of the ones that you were not on, they just reviewed the movie. There were two hosts. One of them actually watched the movie, and the other one was like, I only watched the first 4 minutes. And I was like, that is terrible. How can you actually talk about a movie if you've only seen the first 4 minutes? So we're better than those people.
Was that the guest on there? Or?
No, that was one where they were just reviewing, and so.
Oh, I gotta find that one because I don't know what did they give me a favorable or not? I guess if they did a podcast where they reviewed it, it was okay. I saw one podcast review it, and it was just him, and he gave it a favorable.
Okay. So I will take this on editing because I don't want to give them any unworthy advertisement. But the one I listened to was the podcast. That's what they were called.
Okay. All right. Cool.
And the one dude was like, I only watched 4 minutes of it, and I was like, okay, so you have no real opinion on this.
Well, that's an interesting one. I wonder if I might have sent them a link. Who knows?
Okay.
I'll have to look. Maybe I didn't.
Now we got Jimmy on the trail of these dudes. We're
seems
starting
like-
fights.
Oh,
Did you send out free copies of this movie to?
a lot of podcasts, maybe. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they reviewed it, and but that's good. I don't have to go on it. I just have to get the free press.
Yeah.
But no one, they never got back to me and said we watched it or whatever. Sometimes they let me know every redemption on Vimeo, like who's watched, like if someone's watched it, but they don't tell me much beyond that.
Okay. Oh yeah. So yes. We did watch the movie. That's always a good thing. Before we get into that, there's one last topic that we have to get to in our intro, and of course, whenever Zach is not here, we talk about, well, why isn't he here? And I love having new guests on this show because this is one of my favorite things to do. Zach is not here, Jimmy, because he's actually hard at work at our restaurant. And I don't know if Jimmy's aware of this, but this podcast is about movies and media secondarily, but it primarily acts as board meetings for us to develop and expand the Cinemodities restaurant. I think I told Jimmy through email that we were going to have to talk about snacks at some point. This is where it'll come into play. I think right now, the only thing you need to know is our restaurant is located where Mars 2112 used to be in Times Square, Manhattan. It's finite on the outside and infinite on the inside, and it's totally real. So that's it. That's all you need to know for now. That's the he and the she of it.
I don't believe it, but okay.
You left out the fact that Zach is a hardcore drug addict, and he's actually not at the restaurant.
Well, no, he is. He's using his drug addictions to work through the restaurant. And this week he is at the restaurant dealing with something big, something very important. This exact recording time is actually coincided with a common event we have, which is the Cinemodities Restaurant Grape Orgy. But every once a month, the Grape Orgy is the Caviar Orgy. And I really wanted to be involved with this episode, and I usually have to go and be the queen of caviar at these events. But since I really want to talk with Jimmy and talk about this movie, that the unfortunate trade-off, Zach had to go to the restaurant and be the queen of caviar. And
so you're okay.
I like that Ben,
feel
while I'm doing the
foolish.
bit, he's just shaking his head, and Jimmy's like, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I really don't, because I'm like, is it a real restaurant? I know I'm looking up Cinemodities on Google right now, restaurants, seeing if that's an actual thing. So.
It would be great if there were any search results for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, and so yeah, there's a it's what was I gonna say about that? I don't even know.
Perfect. So yes. So okay. With all that out of the way, yeah.
I would get in trouble for this. It's like I'm not even gonna. It's there's a restaurant in Nashville. My friend said the funniest quote about it ever, but it's too inappropriate, so I'll just skip over it.
we do bleep stuff out in editing, so if there's anything you want to say that's inappropriate, you're welcome to.
Yes.
No, you're good.
Yes. I think we're definitely usually a bunch of goobers on this podcast. We like to have crazy fun. But, of course, since we have you here, Jimmy, someone who's in the industry, this filmmaker that we had to put the effort and the research into preparing for this episode so we don't come across as full idiots. So I figured that with the research I said I did, I'd start off with a hard-hitting question. This is the curveball, so get ready. Between the night of April 14th and the morning of April 15th, 1912, the Titanic sank into the ocean. During that period, what caused the most damage to the ship? Jimmy, what's your answer?
Ice.
That's what most people say. It's actually a giant spider.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my nonsense because I'm having a lot of fun with this. But the whole reason for this, that I wanted to just be goofy right off the bat, is because I want you to feel like you're part of the Cinemodities family, Jimmy.
Okay.
In some of the other interviews that I saw or podcasts that had you on, it seemed like it was very formulaic, very much interview style. And don't worry, Ben and I want to pick your brain about this movie, but this is we want to have you as like a true part of the podcast and not just someone that we can pick apart and stuff like that. So
As long as you do the heavy lifting, I'm happy.
Solid.
And it looks like Jimmy just disconnected from the call. I scared him away. Okay. Oh, all right. So I think that brings us to the main topic of discussion, body swap. I think the best place to start, and we'll end this way as well. Jimmy, how can people see this movie? Where can they find it? Where should they watch it? Feel free to pitch as much as you want.
Okay, if you go to bodyswapmovie.com, you can buy it on Vimeo, and it's a virtual cinema ticket, which is a popular thing right now where you watch it before it sort of comes to all the other distributors. So today, good news is I passed quality control to my knowledge of iTunes and Google Play and all those, so I think it'll be on those. And then I can always put it on Amazon, but I've been telling other podcasts it's at least going to be on Amazon, and it's on Vimeo right now. And I think Vimeo is great because it's 4K, stereo, 104 subtitle languages. You can do all sorts of things, and you can buy the T-shirt on there too. So from the Vimeo link,
I did see the link to the T-shirt, and it's not a bad looking T-shirt, you know.
If I was on Skype wearing the T-shirt, which I'm not, but I've done that on a few. So yeah, go get the T-shirt too. I loved it. Bought it. What is the thing? Liked it. Watched it. Bought it. I don't know. Watched it. Loved it. Bought the T-shirt. How about that?
Okay,
there we go. For the 5 of us that have watched it, I gotta sell everything. So I'll just make toys and board games and chess sets and Monopoly type games for it. And
has anybody bought the rights?
Clue.
Making toys?
Clue? No.
You're not in talks with Hasbro or anything?
Mm-hmm. I could do it because they signed their life away to me. The actors, just their likeness as the characters, but I feel bad about doing that.
I would absolutely, definitely, probably buy an action figure of you and Ella Jordan and a little paper shredder.
There we go. Yeah. I think it'd be like Napoleon Dynamite to handle those characters. Yep.
I also think it'd be really cool to own a little Wendy action figure with a pizza box that she's trying to throw out.
Yeah, Erica would love to hear that. She likes the movie a lot.
Oh, yeah. So yes, definitely I think that Ben and I are in agreement. This is something we actually would recommend. I have to say, because as Zach usually says on this podcast, we are connoisseurs of context. I did not know anything about this movie until you reached out to us about it, Jimmy. I think Ben's in the same boat. Mm-hmm. I watched the trailer first, and I have to, in all honesty, when I watched that trailer, I was like, oh no, this seems like a movie that is not my type of movie. But I still had to check it out. I'm never one to just go off of what trailers do, because marketing can be misleading and things like that. So I did watch the movie, and I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised how much fun I thought it was. I definitely expected not to enjoy it, but I remember telling Ben and Zach after I watched it, I was like, wow, that was actually a really cute, fun movie that had me chuckling. It moves, and it makes a lot of sense with what I think you were going for, but I think we'll get into that more. So I actually really liked it. Then Ben became the wild card, because I think Ben and I have some similar thoughts about movies, and I thought, oh, maybe Ben won't like it. So I'll throw it over to you, Ben. When you finally did watch it, what did you think?
I mean, I don't have anything too different from what you said. I was pleasantly surprised. I kind of, as I was watching it, I definitely did expect to not like it. That really says more about my feelings about romantic comedies than anything else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was pleasantly surprised. It was a fun movie. Definitely a few good jokes. I think you and I don't know who played girl version of you. You both nailed the gender swap acting, so that was fun. Mm-hmm. I really did have a good time watching it, and I've seen it twice now. I watched it again today in preparation.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm glad people like it. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Thanks a lot for saying that. I don't know. With comedy, it's no different with this than any other comedy, as it's very polarizing, and that you don't know who's going to like it. You can't really say, oh, women 18 to 45 are going to like it, because some might and some won't. It's just about how you relate to the material, like all movies.
Yeah, I think, Ben, you actually said it well, something that I left out from my context. I have gone on record many times on this podcast and in my real life saying I really don't like romance in movies. ever. And I think that you kind of hit it out of the park, Jimmy, with the mixing a romance, a rom-com, with this, body swap trope. And I've never really seen anything like that before. I mean, everybody knows about body swap movies, but this one I was just like, oh, this is, actually interesting, where it actually adds something to the romance, where it's not just usual, fall in love, fall out of love, fall back in love, credits roll, that type of thing.
Yeah. So that's something I wanted to aim for was, I feel like comedy, at least, romantic comedy, I can't say, but comedy always works better when you mix it with something. So if I mix it with a romance and a body swap, it'll work better than just straight up comedy. I think people get tired of joke. So they wanted a plot to it.
Sure.
Especially with a feature, than a short or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think before we dive into the movie deeper, I wanted to make sure everybody knew that, Ben and I enjoyed it. I just wanted to, once again, something that I really like to do whenever we have guests on Cinemoddities, and Ben was subject to it back when he first started on this podcast. I want to get some sense of, what is your type of like movie and TV show, Jimmy? What do you gravitate towards? Do you have some favorites? Do you have some like things that are classics in your, like, is it, Freaky Friday? Did that change your life and make you want to write about body swaps? Or just like, what's your history with movies and TV shows?
Well, I said on a few podcasts I was inspired by some body swaps, but I mean, it's not a genre that has a lot. I mean, it's a subgenre, so it's not it has a lot for a subgenre, but it's not a big genre. I'm more of a fan of John Hughes, Billy Wilder, and like Jack Lemmon, either with Billy Wilder or just by himself in any movie.
Okay.
Those are some big cinema classic people I like.
Right on. So I guess I was inspired not only to ask you these types of questions, and don't worry, I'm going to continue. I want to pick your brain on some movies and TV shows, but I loved the fact in Body Swap there were so many movie and TV show references, which I really like. Like Ben knows I love me some just weird, obscure movie references. I think I'll get it out of the way now. There was one I had a gripe about, where when the coworker dude comes up to Eller Jordan and he goes, "I wish they made a movie with Dan Aykroyd and John Candy," and she goes, "They did. It's The Great Outdoors." Why pick The Great Outdoors over Dan Aykroyd's only film he's ever directed, Nothing But Trouble? That was my only gripe, because that is a Cinemoddities favorite.
I'm surprised you didn't notice the theme in that scene. Very few people would caught on to it unless you saw all three movies.
Okay.
Those three movies he lists, What About Bob, which you don't hear her give the reaction. She's just fed up by then. Captain Ron and The Great Outdoors are the same subgenre of interloper guy goes and hangs out with this other guy and his family on like vacation, and the family all likes him and thinks the dad is insane. They like the crazy interloper and better than the dad character, and that's like the plot of all three of those movies.
Oh, okay. That fantastic answer. You sold me, because of those three, I've only seen What About Bob.
We were pitching lines like, I got to look up who's in Weekend at Bernie's. So.
Oh, sure.
So he was going to say, I want to see them make a movie with Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman. Who no one ever heard of.
I like that. I think
that's Weekend at Bernie's. What are you?
The What About Bob? At least I knew of The Great Outdoors.
That was the line pitched. Like I pitched it, but it wasn't in the screenplay, and they did not want to do it. But it was hard to get Ella Jordan. No complaints about her, but it was like getting a horse to talk when it was about movie references she did not understand. Like a Tommy Boy, that was the only trouble she had, was delivering that line about Tommy Boy. She's too young and would not be like that, so she did not understand it.
Interesting. I love that line. Yeah. What is this, the fat guy in a little coat bit from Tommy Boy?
yeah. And they got it in the trailer, but yeah, she did not get it. And there was also another thing where she had to list off some horror films and like which horror films to watch and which didn't, and she it sounded like someone who didn't know what they were talking about when they should be like someone that did. So, but otherwise, in real life, she is like a gamer that plays Fortnite all the time on Twitch and everything else, and is into video games and stuff. So
yeah, I was actually, because when I saw her, I've never seen her before except in this movie, and I was like, oh wow, she was great in it. Like, what else has she done? And I found like her on Twitch, and I was like, oh, okay, good for her.
mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, the movie references are awesome. Of course, on Cinemodities, we talk about a whole bunch of different movies. We have stuff we love, we have stuff we hate. I think because Ben and I are coming off of a discussion yesterday about it, and from what I've heard in interviews you've given, Jimmy, that you are into animation. What are your thoughts on Adventure Time, the Cartoon Network show, which is now the HBO Max show?
Oh, I got to watch those episodes. There's so much Adventure Time. I watched it when it was on Cartoon Network, playing brand new ones, and it would have a new one. They're 11 minutes every single week, like for 2 years.
Back in the golden
That's crazy.
days,
Yeah, that's crazy for a show. Yeah, I like that show a lot. It's got a good plot, good jokes. It does about everything you want from a cartoon, for sure.
Good. Ben and I are glad to hear you say that because we love Adventure Time.
Maybe the last cartoon other than One Punch Man might be the last one I've really watched all of it. And One Punch Man's like,
yeah, Ben knows
episodes.
More about One Punch Man than I do. You've brought that up in some discussion, I think.
I have seen like 2 episodes of One
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
but it's a good one. Check that out. You should check that one out.
Okay.
In terms of animated content, have you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yeah, my brother and I really loved that show back when we watched it. Whenever that was. That was his favorite anime, and he's not usually into that stuff, but yeah, I've watched a few anime, but I'm not watching. I just don't watch as many cartoons or movies or TV shows as I did because it always feels like time away from making projects. So I know the tropes by now that I can do. So it's not like I don't ever, but I watch like Mandalorian. There may be like 3 TV shows I watch, which is Ozark, Stranger Things, Mandalorian. I think that's it. And it's Better Call Saul now, but I consider it all Breaking Bad. Anything Breaking Bad.
Sure.
That's actually really relatable. As I kind of left college and went into the work world, my time became a lot more precious. And now if I'm sitting down watching TV, it's like it's either something really good or I'm dead ass tired and can't work on anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Something as good as Body Swap, yeah.
Yes,
that's the only thing worth your time.
Good pitch. Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I'm like always watching new stuff and things like that, and it's great.
I would watch a movie a day, classic movies a lot of times, and I would watch everything that came out in the theater for quite a while, and I think I just began to predict what they can do very easily. So.
It does become pretty formulaic. Did you find that interfered with your ability to enjoy them?
No, I can sort of put myself in the fantasy of watching a movie. I do like to subvert in the stuff I make because I know what people are expecting. So I try to just do it just to the point of diverting from what they want and give it. But yeah, I've always wanted to maybe make a comedy and then like have a scary masked dude like right up by the window during a scene and then just freak people out, but like never reference it. That would be funny. Yeah, nobody address it and just that would be funny. But that's like a long haul for a joke. Is just let's scare you out of your wits. And make a 70-minute comedy, a 90-minute comedy, just to do a little thing in the corner.
I like that. Yeah, that's great. I think I'm a big fan of that really absurd, obscure, surrealist stuff. Maybe more so into it, like I'm a big David Lynch fan, but I love that stuff like Alan Resnick YouTube shorts that are just weird for the sake of being weird, and like Too Many Cooks, Casper Kelly. So, Jimmy, you got my vote. If you make a movie where there's just a serial killer in the background that nobody addresses and never kills anybody, that's my type of flick.
Tim Morton said that the movie is Body Swap is like he's a David Lynch fan, so it's like Full House directed by David Lynch.
Nice. That's awesome. Oh man, I think another maybe now director that I want to pick your brain on, which most people don't have a lot of knowledge of, but are you aware of or even a fan of or not of Martin Brest, the director?
I like Brest, sure. No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so he directed Hot Tomorrows, Going in Style, the first Beverly Hills Cop, Meet Joe Black, Scent of a Woman. Al Pacino says "hooah" a bunch of times, and then his career ends on Gigli, which is considered the worst film of all time, but I think everybody should watch as an academic exercise. But okay, I have to say I'm a little bummed. Whenever we talk to somebody who's somewhat connected at all, at the minimum, to the film industry, I have to ask them, is there any way they can find an outlet for me to watch Martin Brest's short film Hot Dogs for Gauguin? And I'm still looking for it like a year and a half after learning about it. So, bummer.
I mean, the ability to find shorts, I don't quite shorts always seem to disappear into the ether, because Lena Dunham directed a short starring my friend Tim, who directed this, and it was linked online. Like, you could watch it online. Like, there's an article about it with a link, and the link's a dead link. And so I don't know how to find this Lena Dunham directed short that's not that old. I don't know where it went.
I know. I hate that stuff. Like directors' first short films and works, especially if they become like famous.
It's not even like a first. It's like she was doing Girls or something, I think.
Oh wow,
so,
okay. But I mean, why do these
yeah.
things become lost media? Like, I really want to see George Miller's violence in cinema, you know? I really want to see Richard Kelly's, something Ben and I have talked about, his Visceral Matter, the thing that let him make Donnie Darko. Yeah. And they're impossible to find, and it drives me crazy.
Criterion needs to just throw everything on there.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of which, 4K Criterion Steelbook Blu-ray of Body Swap. When's that coming out, Jimmy?
Man, I could probably, even though we didn't film much on set, we could probably make a DVD enough.
I would love to write the booklet for that Criterion release.
But I might do DVD or Blu-ray if Body Swap is successful, and pair it with another movie, so you're getting like 2 for 1, like a year or so down the road, you know, whenever that next one comes out. But yeah, it's just, they don't sell too well nowadays. The Joker and Frozen 2 were like the best sellers last year, this year, something, and it's this year, and like, they don't make but not even 100 million of like DVD Blu-ray.
Yep.
Maybe more worldwide, but not in the United States. I'm like, dang.
I think like early December, the Tenet Blu-ray and DVD is supposed to come out, and the only reason people will buy that is for subtitles, because that movie is unintelligible otherwise.
Oh, is it the sound real weird?
Oh, I mean, Christopher Nolan, he's just like, it doesn't matter if anybody can hear what my characters are saying. I just need them to hear train noises for 90% of the movie. I was actually reading an article. I don't know if you braved the theaters and saw Tenet, but Ben and I did. And there's so much of that movie where it's like, it's great to look at, but I can't tell you what's going on in most of the movie.
Seems like anime. Granted, I don't see a new title out on DVD and Blu-ray, but it seems like anime. The top one is My Hero Academia this week.
Oh, wow.
That we're talking about. And then, so yeah, they seem to sell older, like Hocus Pocus was selling really well during Halloween. Back to the Future. Maybe they do re-releases or something. But I'm looking at these movies, seeing what, like Sonic. So Sonic made $32 million on DVD and Blu-ray combined so far this year. And that's not that much to me. Trolls World Tour made $42 million. Granted, I mean, they had the digital releases, but anyway, those are numbers. Some people are interested in them, some aren't. But
I don't know if you're aware of this, Jimmy. Rob is a stats guy, and I am a doctor of mathematics.
Oh, great!
We do love the numbers, yes.
Yeah, we are both aware of numbers.
Yeah, well, freedom is the ability to say 2 + 2 is 4, and I don't think you'll be able to do that much longer. So,
oh, Jimmy, you just shot Cupid's arrow straight through Ben's heart with that statement. We go on a math rant in one of our Patreon episodes. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I spent a good, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ranting about that whole 2 plus 2 is 5 thing. God.
What a time to be alive. So speaking of theaters and movies, I don't think Ben and I have talked about it, but they're doing the Crude sequel in theaters. Ben, did you even hear that there was a Crude sequel?
I've seen posters at theaters.
Okay.
I still go to the theaters as often as I can, which is about once a week these days.
Oh, well, that's nice. So they could use the help.
Well, it doesn't feel that nice whenever I'm there and there's like 3 other people and they're running a movie for us, and I'm like, I don't know if you're making money off of this or not, but thank you for noticing.
Yeah, Jimmy, you have in one of the other interviews I listened to keep sounding like an incredibly weird stalker and for doing my research.
I'm fine with that.
You had a really interesting take in, I don't remember which podcast it was from, but you say the people who believe that coronavirus will kill them are the liberals that won't go to theaters. And then you say the people that don't believe that coronavirus will kill them are conservatives who think Hollywood is run by pedophiles and terrible people. So nobody's going to theaters. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's not a good place to be an independent filmmaker. It's okay because we don't spend that much on our movies, and people kind of go out of their way to support independent films. So I think it'll be all right for us. I think the film festivals, I don't want to knock them, but I'm not a big fan of the film festival market. I think you should just be able to just put it online and get it out there. I've been waiting forever to do that, and it's like I had the trailer coinciding with the film festivals, not with the release, and so I need to like re-release all the trailers again and all this stuff. And luckily, like you said, no one's seen it, so it's new to them. But yeah, I think the independent film market's going to flourish with people getting used to digitally buying and renting movies.
Yeah, I think I appreciate it because back when the theater going experience was, in its prime, Zach and I always complained about this. I don't think like either of us have ever had a good theater experience in like the last 5 years because there's always something other people are doing that are bothering us, or it's the Avengers Endgame experience where Captain America picks up Thor's hammer and people just literally scream for the rest of the movie and you can't understand anything the movie's talking about.
Yeah, I had a bottle of Snapple roll down the thing. It would roll down there, and then everyone laughed at that because it sounded like a beer bottle rolling down or something.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I really like the watch at home type of stuff. I have no problem, paying for, like once again, like Body Swap. I think you can rent it for the less than a price of an actual movie ticket before theaters shut down, and that's almost like a convenience to be able to watch it in your own home, pause it if you need to, not have other people, spitting popcorn at the back of your head or anything like that. It's great.
Well, and the big name releases that are coming out, straight to digital, at least in the middle of COVID, it was like they were doing like $20 per digital ticket to.
Oh to yeah. Mulan's like 20.
It was
35.
30. Yeah, it was 30 plus the Disney Plus membership.
Yeah, that's. I think more expensive than mine was like a 20, and people bought it at 20. I'm experimenting with the prices now, but I kept it at those prices because I think it's, especially like the $10 rental. If you're like going to the theater and it's like a date movie, you're going to spend 10 on one ticket, so you're going to spend 20. So spending either 20 to buy or 10 to rent, I think is all right. I won't do that forever, but for now, especially since it's like it's not a barrier to entry to people.
Sure.
The difference between 6 and 10 to some people is a lot, but it doesn't result. I've dropped it to 6. Like I've had it at 6 or 8 for a few days, and then they'll never buy it. Like the sales won't like shoot up any. so I just keep it at that until Amazon will be a little bit more reasonably. I don't think they're unreasonably priced, but they'll be less priced like a DVD and more like a digital release, like a $4, $10 buy.
It's an interesting psychological phenomenon. If you make prices too low, people will assume it's not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people want to you don't do the 99 cents. You do I do the 99 cents when it goes to Amazon and iTunes. I do them in dollars because that's what movie theater prices are, and they're $8, $10, when you go. So I always like the $2 the Tuesdays.
Yes.
Discount Tuesdays. Yeah. So yeah.
When you mention Amazon, Jimmy, you're talking about like still selling on Amazon, not streaming on Prime. Because from what I've heard, if you give your movie to Prime, they're basically like, okay, we own it now, and they give you Spotify money. So I don't think, Ben, you've ever talked about it.
They don't own it, but they give you Spotify money.
Yeah,
you got
I have some
two,
albums on Spotify, and we make like nothing. Like you have to just sit there and play the song on repeat to make like 5 cents. Like it's ridiculous. And I've heard that with Amazon Prime as well, that it's like they basically are just like, oh, 3,000 people watched your movie, here's a quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I do got to clarify that with my distributor is that I told them I wasn't doing Amazon through them, but the one lady seemed like, are you doing Prime? I'm like, what are you talking about? You're releasing it to sell on iTunes and all that. We're not. Don't talk about Prime at all. Like you're the one put it on Vudu and all these things. So even they're confused. But I think they're not even touching the Amazon because I can do Amazon directly myself, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do Amazon, US, UK, and Japan and Germany yourself. For some reason, those 3 weird markets. I can't do Latin America like Mexico and South America on there. I don't know why. But iTunes is going to be South America, I think, as well as US. So I'm interested in how well to do worldwide kind of. I mean, it's done worldwide sales on Vimeo, like half US, half worldwide. Canada, UK, all those places.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. France and such.
I don't have as much experience with your history, Jimmy, but you're talking as if you've released other movies in the past on these digital platforms. Is that...
No, I just studied them.
Okay.
But I studied, distributors. They always cheat these filmmakers, so I'm going out and doing it myself, even if I have to do all the marketing and all the subtitles and, quality control myself. I have like a partner. It's called an aggregator, and they you pay them like $2,000 and they put them on these various platforms you can't go directly to. I'm working with them, but I get to keep all the dollars that come in. They'll just send me a check back. And so I like that arrangement better.
Do you have any idea which digital platforms do the best? Like you mentioned Vudu and Vimeo and...
What I hear is Amazon does so much more than iTunes. And I'm sure iTunes does better than Vimeo. But I send people straight there, so it's really just the marketing right now. If it was like, but Amazon and iTunes are great when they go, because they can go browse movies and then they'll see your movie and go check it out. I think it's Redbox On Demand is possibly it's going there too.
Right on.
We talk really about cool. All the distributions. We never talk about the plot, but I think independent filmmakers are kind of listening and, want to hear how you distribute these movies too.
Oh yeah, this is what we do on Cinemodities. We hit all the quadrants, all the corners. I like that we got off on this tangent when I brought up the Crude sequel.
Yeah. I don't know what the Crude is sequel. Crudes? I don't know what Crude or the original is.
Oh, you are lucky. That is a terrible movie.
Yeah, it was rough. Rob and I used to live near each other, and I think that was one of the movies that we watched.
What's your favorite horror movie with a turkey or a beaver, or a rabbit killer? They always got those weird ones.
You're definitely hitting a chord with, especially I think the next episode Ben and I have to record is about Thanksgiving. I'm a huge fan of Thanksgiving, about the demonic turkey that comes back and kills people.
They make more than 2?
Oh, Ben's like, Jimmy, you're opening up a can of worms right here. There is Thanksgiving, followed by Thanksgiving 3, and probably my favorite movie fact of all time is that there is no such thing as Thanksgiving 2, but it is a major plot point of Thanksgiving 3.
Oh, cool.
And there's a musical also.
Yes, that's what we're doing this year, is Thanksgiving the musical. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's probably...
Do you have their permission? Are you working with, or are you just reviewing it?
Just reviewing it, yeah. I think after Thanksgiving the musical, we will run out of Thanksgiving topics to review, and I will have to start reaching out to the creators for interviews because that's our Thanksgiving tradition. We can't break form. Oh man, I didn't know you were going to put that qualifier on it. I thought you were just going to ask favorite horror movie and stuff like that. But Thanksgiving is definitely my favorite demonic turkey horror movie.
I saw a casting call for one that was like, I don't know, something Rotten Tail, like Peter Cottontail. I don't know if they ever made it.
I haven't heard of that one. I got to look into that though. Yeah, that's something.
They made it. They made it.
Have either of you guys heard of a movie called Rubber?
Oh, The Killer Tire?
Yes. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I don't think that it really qualifies as a horror movie. I think it's more of a comedy. But it's. I mean, there's a scene where the tire rolls up to a puddle, and like puts its tire face in the puddle, and then the puddle like decreases in volume as if the tire is drinking. So
yeah, I've seen the poster and never watched the trailer. I don't think. We got the Fat Man with the Mel Gibson. Always a edgy holiday thing going on.
Oh, are you referencing The Beaver with Mel Gibson?
No, you haven't seen the trailer to Fat Man where he plays Santa Claus? It's coming out right now.
No, I'm putting this on the list though.
Mel Gibson is doing something?
Yeah, it's a new Mel Gibson movie where he plays Santa Claus called Fat Man, and like it's edgy. It's not edgy like the one with Billy Bob Thornton. It's more edgy like he's going around killing people for some reason. I don't know what the deal is, but it's out there, and it's got another Academy Award winner in it.
I will have to check this out. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Out there. Yeah.
If it goes to theaters, we'll have to review it on the Patreon content, bro.
Yes. Yeah, we were looking for a Christmas movie, right?
Well, maybe. We had one in mind. But
yes.
Oh, you can do multiple Christmas movies.
That's true.
Christmas goes on forever after Thanksgiving.
Ain't that the truth, though? Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I guess because you mentioned Beaver, because I've told Ben before about the Mel Gibson movie, The Beaver, where he has the beaver puppet on his hand.
Literally, I'm looking up this poster to Rotten Tail, and it literally the tagline is "Hippity Hoppity Homicide." So it's basically like Body Swap, where he's just taking lines and making them sound spooky, which is what they do in all horror trailers. They just take a thing and some lullaby or something and say it creepily, and I don't know how that always sells, but it does.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Horror only is the only one with original ideas. I mean, it's still, what if this mirror kills you? What if this thing that can only kill you in the dark? The Lights Off movie, and then the It Follows. What if this thing kills you after you have sex or something and follows you around? There's always something new. So they do seem to do more original stuff than all the sequels and prequels coming out of Hollywood.
Yes. I think Ben knows about the It Follows movie, but I don't think he's seen it.
I'm not.
Because we did an episode a while ago on David Robert Mitchell's film After It Follows, Under the Silver Lake. Do you have a take on It Follows, Jimmy? Any thoughts on It Follows?
Well, I'm glad you didn't ask about the other one. That one I've seen, the It Follows, and my take was, yeah, why not just go forever to the end of the earth or something? I don't know.
I think that's Zach's take. Just like, oh, it's near me. Let me take a plane to Australia. It's never going to get to me.
Yeah, it walks. So even if it walks through the ocean, it's going to take a while. And then,
Yep.
But yeah, you can't sleep. So I don't know. You got a problem.
I'm not a big fan of It Follows. I love the idea and just goofing around with the rules of it, but I thought that movie was fairly pretentious. Okay, well, I think this was one of many tangents we'll go off in this episode, because I don't think Ben knows this, but I emailed Jimmy and I said, we love tangents, so, be prepared for that.
Well, I'm glad I have nothing planned, so you can just edit out anything, and you can definitely edit this down, and that, yeah.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. We got like 6 hours to go. Here we go. We can get into the real topic. We got to talk about some Body Swap. We already started by saying Ben and I enjoyed this movie. We definitely found it funny, and I think that was somewhere that I wanted to start. Is that this movie had me chuckling a good bit, and I really liked some of the references that I mentioned already. I liked some of the deadpan comedy, and I wanted to say, since we have you here and you wrote the movie, probably my favorite joke in the film is when you, or I guess you as the female, realizes that there's ants in the sink and you bring attention to it, and Gunnar Willis is basically like, yeah, I know. And you go, okay, I'm cool with ants. That had me dying, I must say.
Oh my God. There are so many ants. I know. I knew that too. I mean, I'm cool with ants.
Yeah, the director liked that line, and so a lot of people like that line. I think it's just because no one ever says they're cool with ants.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So it's like he's trying to be casual, and that's kind of something you hear in movies a lot. It's just someone being casual about something ridiculous. So we decided to take it to the extreme.
Oh yeah, I dug it for sure. As a quick aside, I don't know if Ben can still hear us. It looked like he froze in a very weird yawning position. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, that was like, you're yawning for quite a while. So.
Okay, so he'll call back in. But I guess on that same topic with the ants, were those ants CGI or some form of? I couldn't really tell when I watched it.
They were a form of honey on the sink because the director's house has ants all the time, especially if you leave anything out. You can't have like. They even followed to the cabinets in a line up to the cookies that were like slightly open. They just really got in there, so. You always had to put stuff in the fridge so he did have ants.
Okay. Was that, as you just mentioned, was that the director's house?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And that actually brings me to another question. When I first saw that, you were the writer, producer, star, but you were not directing, I was really interested in, what was that experience of, making the movie but not directing it? But then I found that you've worked with Tim Morton before, so I'm sure that smoothed some things over in the creative process.
It definitely did. It's always difficult because you got a lot of opinionated people around, and it's hard to like give up some control, but you just got to get the project done. You can't have only your viewpoint going through. It's never going to be good that way. So you want to like surround yourself with creative people that like get you and can give you some good I don't know ideas.
Sure. You don't take the Kubrick approach where you have to control every detail possible in a film.
Nope.
Okay. Right
but I was at the beginning of the movie like that. I was very exacting about what I was doing.
Okay. So yeah, and like I said, I saw that you worked with Tim Morton before. I haven't seen it, but I think what's the film called? New Cops? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I definitely want to check that out after seeing Body Swap. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if you have anything else in the works, but something I did want to see if you could give any insight on was in one of your other interviews that I heard, you mentioned that you pitched some cartoon to Cartoon Network back in the day.
Yeah.
Any insight? I mean, I don't know if it's protected or anything.
No, it's not any protected. This executive was doing like preschool type shows, or maybe just slightly above preschool, whereas like, well, this would be historic. Charles the Eighth, or one of them, when he was 8 years old, he ruled like most of Europe.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he ruled Spain just through marriages and all these things, and Britain, and I don't know where else. He just ruled a bunch of stuff, and I thought that'd be funny for a cartoon, and so we pitched that, and they liked it past the pitch, but it didn't go beyond that.
Okay, Ben is back. We lost him for a little bit. What a time to be alive.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it coming through the mic? Am I good?
Yes. Jimmy and I had a good laugh because you froze when you were leaning back and yawning, and it just stuck that way.
Yeah, It's like the third time that computer's crashed today, so I'm on my laptop now.
Okay, yes, fantastic. It wouldn't be a true, low-level podcast if it weren't for technical difficulties. So, I think now that you're back, Ben, I mentioned the I'm cool with ants, that line, which I know off mic Ben and I laughed about. What did you have one line or a few lines that you really latched onto with the comedy in this movie, Ben?
I actually I don't know how much it made me laugh, but the scene where Ella Jordan is describing in gross detail the orgasms that didn't happen between her and Casey.
Yeah,
that scene was pretty fantastic. And then the redhead lady's like, "That's the grossest thing you've ever said to me."
Girl talk.
that was some good shit.
So that thing with you and Casey yesterday, that was odd. Are you okay?
Me? Casey? No, everything couldn't be more normal.
Okay, just double checking. Do you want me to call him back for a second interview?
No. He's
Right, he's a bit of a loser, right?
no. He's a cool guy. CIA,
Really? You sure? Did he tell you that? Because aren't they supposed to, keep that stuff secret?
Yeah, pillow talk. We had sex.
Oh, okay.
His big fat penis made me squirt all over the place. I mean, it was wild. Waterballs.
Wow, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard you say.
Sex talk, what can I say? You know how us girls are. You know what? I'm gonna go to my office. I have meetings to schedule.
yeah. I try to put some just Apatow light humor instead of the whole movie with it. Just maybe a scene, and then you go back to just regular jokes. And yeah, I like that. That kind of throws you for a loop. But I like that line a lot.
Wow, I'm so glad you actually... I didn't think about that because I haven't seen an Apatow movie in so goddamn long. But you're absolutely right. That's that weird nonsense of just, Judd Apatow throwing gross-out humor at you. Like whether it's what Katherine Heigl's saying, I won't let you fuck me like a dog and knocked up. Or weren't, Ben, you mentioning This Is 40? There's some gross marriage stuff with Paul Rudd in that movie or something like that.
Definitely. This is 40 is a disturbing movie.
Oh, okay. The Apatow connection's really interesting. I didn't think about it. I haven't seen... I think I stopped at Funny People, which I think most people stopped at.
Well, he's gone on to produce more. I don't know if he had The King of Staten Island out this year, but it wasn't... his comedy was getting old, just like anybody's comedy just gets old. You get tired of it because you just have a certain style of comedy, and so you get used to it. And so his style got old, and so he went on to produce that Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, and then the Pete Davidson movie, and he produced a really good TV show on Netflix called Love. I really like that one. It's mostly Paul Rust that did it.
Okay.
But he produced it, and I thought that one was good. I think he's done a good segue into modern stuff. He also produced The Big Sick, and that's not really him either. And just, gives little insights, produced Girls, too. So,
sure.
Yeah, he's mostly gone on to producing. So,
Did you watch Trainwreck?
yeah, I thought that was okay.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad. I can see people not liking it, especially Amy Schumer's kind of gotten annoying to some people. So
I have to say, I didn't even know it was called Trainwreck. Jimmy, I thought you were describing it as Amy Schumer was in a train wreck of a film. I didn't know it was called Trainwreck.
yeah. It's funny. But,
it's called that because
there's definitely a joke we could spitball there where it's something. You could have a joke in there somewhere.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, yeah, Ben, I'm glad you brought up that line because, like you said, maybe it didn't make you laugh. It just made you interested or question it. I have to say there's another line in this movie that is, I think, pure absurdity that I absolutely love, which is at the coffee shop with you and Ella Jordan. And she's like, or you, or her, whatever body swap scenario is going on right there. It's the line where somebody says, "Why is all the popcorn mixed?" And she says, "I take out the divider of the tin and shake it up."
Are you talking about the tins of popcorn? Why is all the cheddar, regular, and caramel popcorn all mixed together like that?
I take out the divider and shake the tin up.
That's disgusting.
That is just the weirdest thing I've ever heard, and I love it. Because who would think to do that? Also, who even knows what those popcorn tins are these days?
I would be afraid to do that. I'm sure people at Costco have seen them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Tim at least had a container. It didn't have popcorn, I'm sure, but it had. We put it in the background of one of the scenes where I'm on the couch and I roll over with the controllers. You can see pretty much any scene in that room. You can see that tin of popcorn in the corner. So he had one and put it, but I wrote that in the script and he just found one. And yeah, I'm afraid to do that. I would be afraid to do that.
I think psychopaths are the only people that would do that.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking great to me. You guys can go fuck yourselves.
Ben's like, I know what I'm ordering from the popcorn factory right after this call.
I don't think it's such a bad idea because you have, go to Costco and try it. Why not? I think it sounds like the using the M&Ms in the popcorn, which I have tried that, and I like that combo.
That's pretty good. Yeah, sweet, salty.
Yeah, Raisinets are good in there. Yeah, try it out if you haven't, Rob.
I guess I got to get on it, and I mean, Ben does have a status on this podcast for weird foods because I always like to bring up he's the only person I've ever seen hard boiled an egg, cut it up, put it between two slices of bread, and eat it.
Sounds British to me, but we won't judge.
Jimmy,
that's a British palate.
Based on this M&M popcorn thing, I have to ask you: do you dip fries in milkshakes?
No, I don't do that. I'm well aware of the culture behind that, but I've not been into it. There's a good video on YouTube. I don't know if good, maybe disturbing, where they caught a guy at the restaurant, maybe like 10 years old, and he's just pouring the milkshakes on like all these burgers and eating them. And he's relatively fat. I don't know. He's not like super duper fat. So it's not even like making fun of him for being fat and doing it. It's like the comments are, this guy just killed his wife and boss when he found him in bed. And this is they're about to catch him, or, like stuff like that. Like, this is the guy that's
he's drinking that wine out of a styrofoam cup or something. It's out there.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, I wonder if I could even find it if I looked it up.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was a good tangent. Good food tangent, Ben.
You're welcome. So you can actually thank my buddy from high school who I haven't seen in 6 to 8 years, who randomly tagged me in a post today and was like, "There are other people like you," and he tagged me in apparently they sell a milkshake and fries ice cream flavor now.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, he called me a psychopath. So I mean, I guess maybe you weren't wrong about the popcorn situation.
Fair. So I think the one of the other things that, maybe with the popcorn tin, a lot of people these days won't really know what that is, because that's something from when I was younger, but I'm not sure.
Okay, This video. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. I wasn't even. Y'all were talking though, so
no. It's all good. You can interrupt us. We love it. Apparently, there's a hot take on this video.
Okay, so guy eats In-N-Out like an absolute maniac, and I don't think this is a different. It's not a. This is the only video of it, and it only has 7,000 views. So y'all need to go get this started up because it's just. Looks like this man just found out he's going to jail. This guy's my spirit animal. Yeah. And so he actually looks put together with a tie and a nice haircut.
I just pulled it out. We're doing live reaction on Cinemodities right here.
Oh my god. This guy has so much food. He's pouring milkshakes on hot dogs.
No, it's the In-N-Out hamburgers, but yeah.
This is awesome.
This might have been a repost though, because it only has 7,000 views. But that was the title I remember from it too. So yeah,
he dips it.
And apparently only got 7,000 views, but it got a guy mimicking it and doing a retake of it. So I don't get this, but whatever. And that only has 200 views. So I don't know. The weird subgenres of YouTube of just going out of the way of.
Well, I definitely think in his left hand he has a hot dog, and in his right hand he has a hamburger.
Oh, okay.
He's still into town.
Double fisting.
He had like, for the cinema audience, you have to know he had like 3 milkshakes, 2 boxes of food in front of him.
I will put that link in the show notes for people to follow along. Oh, that was great. That was great. So I think, oh god, good. No, perfect tangent, Jimmy. That's what we like. We can all interrupt everybody here. That's what we do on Cinemodities. But I think I was saying the popcorn tins might be a little outdated for some people. Something that I think is also maybe not completely outdated that I absolutely loved. We need more coupon clipping in movies. Like, I love the scene where you're clipping coupons, Jimmy, because I'm like, that's what life is actually about.
Well, what's funny is my friend Tim always likes to put coupons in there, and if there's not a reference, then he's got to put it in there. Because I used to use them all the time, and I still do the digital ones. You can add them to your Kroger card.
Yeah.
But it's a New Cops. He wanted to put a slight. There is a reference in She's a Princess to coupons again. My character's always coupons is a running theme with the thing. And I was going to go back to the popcorn tin. There's another YouTube channel called A Southern Thing, and they do Southern Antiques Roadshow. And so it's like different things. So they go like, oh, this is a tin of butter Danish cookies from my grandmother's house. It's like, this could be anything. This could be empty. It could be sewing supplies. It could be anything. And then they open it and it's actually Buddish Daner cookies. And they're like, what? How much is this worth? It's like, I've never seen this before in my life, and starts eating them.
Okay, right on.
That's the point there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I think with this topic of, things that are maybe a little weird in the movie, one scene I found absolutely insane that I wanted, I think, to talk to you about how you performed it so well. When the clique of girls shove the cupcake in your face, that is an insane scene. One, because a grown man is being bullied by what seems like high school girls. One of them is named Star Killer.
Yeah.
Just like how was that? How many takes was that? Any insight you can give us on the behind the scenes?
I wonder if we sold that well. The only behind the scenes is those 3. The main one that shoves the cupcake in my face, she's works on crew on the movie and is an actress, and she'll be in the next one working crew and having a bigger acting part. Her name's Allie Hale. She's really good. And it was like a 2-hour day. That was the only scene we were shooting that day because we were sort of getting ready to do the movie. And it's just me and them 3. So we thought we can get that done in about 2 hours. We did pretty much during daylight. And so we did it. And I didn't have craft service that day, because it was only 2 hours. So they ate those cupcakes on the way back. The girls, it's like the 3 little girls are like, we got to eat those cupcakes. They're too good. I think we smashed 1 or 2, but they were like really careful not to smash them. One, so we'd have them in the thing, but also like, I think that was our only smash, but like, so that they had cupcakes because like we weren't going to eat these cupcakes. So yeah, they ate them.
Right on.
They were not Hollywood actresses. They would eat a cupcake.
That's something else I was thinking. I've always heard of like, big name actors and actresses that they have to like basically, not swallow the food because they don't want to do 100 takes of like eating something because then they can't eat it.
It is a bit annoying, even with like a little tiniest of marshmallows. I remember I would have to eat one for a scene, and it's annoying to eat at the exact moment, you're eating something. I don't know if I eat anything in the movie. I don't think I do.
I think just ice cream in that.
Oh yeah, that's
the sad scene.
That's kind of tough to do, but it wasn't like I had to talk and then take a bite of ice cream, then go back to talking. That's kind of annoying when you're acting. So I don't write that in, I don't think, on most of my projects.
Okay.
But yeah.
I loved your performance in that scene because I think in that scene you're still wearing leggings which you do for a good bit of the movie. And when you run away from the girls bullying, I'm just like, oh, this is so crazy, but I love it. It works. It's fun.
So that scene actually reminds me a lot of a John Mulaney bit. He talks about being at an airport and they're like talking shit to him. They're like, "Say you're a fat little girl." It's like, that's definitely the vibe I got from that.
Oh man, yeah, that was good fun.
I like the idea, and I think it played where it's like felt like post-apocalyptic names on those girls. They just kept getting crazier and crazier as they were. Like they literally refer to the ringleader as ringleader, and so I wonder if even people catch on to it or what they think of that scene, because I haven't heard too many people even notice it, and I would think that's the most noticeable thing ever if you didn't know. It's out there for a movie.
I definitely caught Star Killer, ringleader. Now that you say it, I can like realize that's what they were saying, but I don't think I understood it when I heard it.
Yeah. Huh.
So like, if I had watched it with subtitles, that would have been better, I think.
Look who it is. You know, to be honest with you, I don't think you could handle this.
Am I supposed to know y'all from somewhere?
What do we have here?
Hey.
Now, why does Fatty need cupcakes, Sassy Cat?
Let's do him a favor and save him the calories, ringleader.
At least save him one, you know, since he bought him for us, Star Killer.
Come on.
Yeah, maybe we need to up the. We did do a stereo mix, so hopefully the stereo mix sounds better now.
Oh, okay. No, that was good fun. I think there were just some scenes in these movies that I was like, it's so strange. Like once like I said at the start, I think that's why I enjoyed this so much, because it didn't go down the, generic route of what I was expecting from a rom-com. Like, I'm glad that you saved the joke for near the end, when it's like, oh, a guy goes into a woman's body. I feel like the cliche is the first thing they do is look at themselves naked in the mirror. And you do that with the boob joke with the brother, where the brother's like, yeah, I knew you switched bodies. What's it like to have boobs? You want to feel them? But before that, you do something really interesting. You do the, I didn't know my taste buds would change. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, that's something I've never thought about, body swap. Like, that's an actual interesting idea. The shaving sensitivity as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, the taste thing, people do have different taste. That's for sure. But yeah, people have the same taste, but that was the crew making, that was the director and the actress making fun of me for writing that, because they're like, we're going to elaborate on that more, because that everyone has the same taste buds. Everyone likes ice cream or whatever. It's just that they can't eat it. Like they can't. I'm like, okay, I won't argue this.
I loved that idea, and I think you're right. Well, maybe scientifically we all have the same layout of taste buds or whatever, from some baseline standpoint. But I mean,
but some people like different foods.
That's what I was about to say. I can basically chug blue cheese. I love creamy, nasty, moldy blue cheese, and I know people that are like vomiting at the sight of it.
Well, it's definitely true of like people that are vegetarians. If they were to eat that don't eat refined sugar and then suddenly eat it, they get sick or or meat. Yeah, so it's not unheard of. But it was an argument I had to have with them that made no sense. It needs to be elaborated on. It's and maybe I should have said taste instead of taste buds, but it was like, it's.
I think it played fine. I mean,
yeah.
Your character doesn't need to know all the science. Your character knows things taste different.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it played fine.
Speaking of vegetarian, I think Ben remembers I don't like olives. And when we hung out with Andy, our friend the vegetarian, he put like 2 whole cans of olives on a frozen pizza, and I almost lost my mind.
How are you feeling about pineapple on pizza? Obviously, people.
I am one of the people that is totally fine with it. I like bright citrus in general, and I think mixing that with the tomato sauce acidity is totally fine. I have nothing against pineapple on pizza.
They definitely, the ones at the pizza restaurants know the exact ones to put on it, which is the smaller the better. Somehow it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the chunks, not rings of pineapple on pizza. That's a little excessive, I think.
Well, the chunks, I did the chunks. I made my own or something. I don't know. I put chunks on there that were too huge, and they never even got warm, and it made the pizza wetter, and it was just they're too big. So you can't do it that big. Maybe like the Domino's size is a good one. I like them.
Yeah, I'm also somebody who really likes broccoli on pizza, so take that.
I'll run with that. I'll hang with that. My brother likes the potato pizza.
Hell yeah!
Mellow mushroom.
I don't like how artificially sweet some of the pineapples are you get from pizza places. But if you put some sour pineapple on a pizza, I bet I'd eat the fuck out of that.
Welcome to Food Commodities, where we talk about food.
Olives are very polarizing on pizza, though. I have found that it's very salty, but I like them in sparingly. Definitely like the Supreme pizzas; those are good.
I think one of my first interactions with olives was a martini, and I did not like that. It was really, I don't know if it was a martini. It was basically just olive juice and vodka, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
Sure.
So salty.
Oh, that's good. I'm trying to think now. I mean, of course, this will come back up. There's some food in this movie that I definitely saved for my snack part of the episode. But we've talked a lot about food. I love the food idea in this movie.
That's the beauty of editing, is you can put put all this in the snack part. But go on, yeah.
Yes, but no, I think maybe to transition from food, one of the other things that, speaking about, like the cupcake scene, which I really liked your performance in, Jimmy. I really loved your line delivery, listing off video games in the word association fashion.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. My only gripe, probably my second gripe of the movie, the first one was the Nothing But Trouble one, which you have dispelled because it made sense now that you explained it to me. In your list, you do just say Final Fantasy. Which Final Fantasy? You can't have the original for PS3. It's impossible.
Yeah, maybe there's a, what is it? I don't know. Maybe there's is there one for, I don't know. I don't even know.
I think the easiest one would have been Final Fantasy 13, because that was the first for the PS3. But other than that, that's my only gripe.
Are you saying PS3 games?
Yeah, I think was it a PS3 or a PS4 in the scene? I thought it was a PS3. I might be misremembering it.
Oh, maybe he has it on Virtual Console, though. Or one of those anthologies.
I'm a crazy fanatic of Final Fantasy, and I'm pretty sure for that generation you can only get it for the PSP or the Vita. I don't think you can get it on the console, but...
Oh, yeah.
But that's my second tiny gripe with the movie. Ben's like, Rob, what are you doing to our guest?
Technically, Warcraft probably is not on there, and he says that.
Yeah,
we're just going PS3. I think he's just saying games he has.
Yeah, he does say Warcraft and Minecraft, and there's Minecraft you can play on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Well,
I do love
play on Xbox.
Your delivery of that whole thing. It's so deadpan and monotone. On this date with the third wheel of your brother in the movie, and then
that's what my acting's known for, is deadpan and monotone. So.
That perfect cherry on top, where you mentioned some video game, you go, "Wait, no, I sold that one to GameStop." Like, that was great.
Thanks.
Loser.
What other games do you have?
Rage, Primal Rage, Streets of Rage, Street Fighter, Final Fight, Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, Star Wars.
Okay.
Star Trek, StarCraft, Minecraft, Warcraft, God of War, Gears of War, Metal Gear Solid, Twisted Metal, Metal Slug, Metal Gear Rising, Dead Rising, Dead or Alive. Oh, wait, I sold that one to GameStop. Sorry.
It felt very real.
Yes. I also love the fact that in the opening scene of the movie, we get to see it in the background, and then your brother's using it, a Rock Band controller. I'm a huge Guitar Hero and Rock Band person, and very unfortunately, a few years ago, my old PS2 Guitar Hero controllers broke, so I don't have a way to play it anymore. Hold on to that. Whoever's Rock Band controller that is, if it's yours or someone else's, hold on to it. Those are really difficult to come by these days.
Okay. We have a bunch, but they're probably falling apart.
I exclusively ride my bike around Fort Collins, where I live, in the summertime, looking for yard sales where I might be able to find any Guitar Hero or Rock Band controller, because I will buy those immediately.
Oh. Huh. I thought they dropped in price a lot, too. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think they did for a little bit, but then they stopped making them. I mean, Guitar Hero had its resurgence with, I don't know if Ben's aware of it, they did the 2 rows of 3 buttons. It wasn't 5 buttons in a row, it was 2 like layered rows of 3, and that changed the whole dynamic. I think those are the only ones you can really find, retail. Otherwise, you have to go to eBay or something like that. But I guess the point I'm making, Jimmy, is that I love the setup of video games, like the Rock Band, the Lego Dimensions, all that stuff you had in that mise-en-scène was fantastic.
Yeah, he also completely botches that Guitar Hero song as you just hear. Burr, burr, burr.
Yes, I did like that. Yeah.
We could have got a song, not from probably that was in Guitar Hero, but we had rights to some music we could use. We probably could have put something in there, but I like the burr, 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 and just messing it up. So
Yep. So Ben, I guess throw it over to you. Anything more on that, or what other scenes did you want to bring up? Because I think Jimmy's getting the sense that Ben and I really like to dissect these movies with little moments, and which is great to hear from you. But Ben, I wanted to see what you had.
So I did notice the Dimensions Lego things. I don't really know anything about Lego Dimensions, so I was kind of just intrigued by the fact that that's the only Lego sets that were there. I don't know if that's like a specific...
They're like a video game that you use Legos on the thing for.
Okay. All right. That makes sense why they would be exclusively those. The other thing that kind of came to mind when I was watching is I picked up golf a little while back, and there's that scene where you guys are on the golf course, and it shows Roy, taking a swing. Do you know if that actor has ever golfed before?
I don't think so.
Okay, that was pretty apparent. But other than his inability to golf, I really enjoyed that whole I've been on a country club before. When did I take you to the country club?
At least it works that he says he's top 500 in the state or whatever. But
yeah.
If that's the only money he's making, how does he make any money? I don't think they make much, either one of them.
No, I liked the idea that his brother was his keeper. He's just I never took you to a country club. What are you talking about?
Yeah, even when the unemployment check comes in, he's like, "Can you sign this over to me? Because you owe me for everything." Oh yeah, that whole kind of, I know you mentioned it earlier, saying how he looks, more people thought he was your brother, more looking like your brother than your actual brother. I believe it's Gunnar Willis, if I'm remembering it correctly, the actor that plays the brother.
Yes.
One of the things that stood out to me is near the end of the movie, in the scene where they try and swap back by pouring liquid into the paper shredder, which is fantastic. Just pouring liquid somewhere it doesn't belong, I love in movies. But when the whole scene where it's basically you and Ella Jordan talking to, the character's name is Lisa, I believe, and getting her job back, Gunnar Willis just seems to be twiddling his thumbs in the background, has nothing to do. Was there something cut there? I kind of got a feeling maybe something was cut and he should have had more to do with that scene until the end. But it just looked really weird. I was kind of distracted by him just scratching his ear and twiddling his thumbs and waiting for the scene to end.
Apparently his whole thing is to pretend to pick his nose, try to find a place to wipe it in the background. Okay. That scene was that was his character's idea, and so I don't know if you caught it. It seems like you didn't, but he didn't have any lines until the end of the scene, so nothing was cut there. There were lines cut all over the place. We trimmed. They just slowed down the pacing.
Okay, I guess that actually brings me to something more general about this movie. I did really want to ask you. Are there any aspects of this finished project that you're unhappy with, whether it be deleted scenes, changed plot beats, changed lines?
No, I was super worried because I was so fooling with these subtitles lately that I forgot that in the non-English ones, I took out the two lefts make a right. So I was is that not in the movie anymore? And then I was like, I just didn't put it in my subtitles because I don't think it would make any sense. It's one of the few puns. I think even some of the puns would translate, but that one is so over the top with the pun that it's only English speakers would get it, I think.
Okay. No, that's actually good to hear that, it's that you're very happy with this final product. Because I know Zach, Ben, and I always love discussing things that get cut and what could have been and other castings and stuff like that.
There was one line I liked. I don't know. It's just it's so she just does it. The reason she has a hamburger there and she never even mentions why we even went out and got a hamburger for the joke, because this is what happens on movies is like it's like she should have a hamburger. I'm like, okay. I mean, she doesn't really. And an apple or whatever, just props. And so she says something about, you know how long it took. You know when the hamburger was invented by Genghis Khan and the whatever, and then it's like, you know when the cheeseburger was invented, 1920. Took like 30 years later to put 500 years later to put a piece of cheese on it. And she just goes on these tangents, and it's like, so those are cut, but you got a lot of tangents. She's going on tangent galore in that movie, so I think one being cut out is not going to end it.
Sure. I think on that same idea, I know something Ben and I were talking about bringing up with you is that, well, I guess one, for some context, Ben and I love ranting about things. There's a few beats in this movie that get at some, I'm trying to find the right way to put it, but maybe more topical ideas that cause some issues among people. I think the one, Ben, you brought up was the, Lisa says, I yelled at this guy in the bathroom, but maybe he identifies as female. The one that jumped out to my mind is when, the boss asks Ella Jordan to wear a dress, and she goes, you think I'm gay? And he's immediately like, no, here's some money, don't sue. And we really liked those scenes. Was there any kind of, maybe thought about not putting those in because they might, offend some people? I don't think they were offensive. I think Ben agrees with me. They play for comedy really well. But we really, I think I speak for both of us, Ben, when I say we really like that you kind of pushed the envelope a little bit by not only dealing with body swap, but dealing with the, body swap and genderism type of ideas.
Yeah, it is interesting that, like, even the cast and crews, like, draws different opinions by something that really isn't even, it's more plot driven, where, like, but I don't think we did I don't think you quite get the intrinsic. I don't think anyone that watches the movie gets that the joke of when he says, "You want me to wear a dress?" He's like saying, "Well, you think I'm gay? I'm going to wear a dress, like as a guy, like only gay guys wear dresses." And that was an idea, and like it really, that sort of undercurrent did not come across because. It's a girl saying it, so it comes more as so. But the other meaning does come across where he's like, "You want me to wear a dress? You think I'm gay or something?" And like, yeah, it's just weird, strange things like that. I don't know why anyone would be offended that's liberal by it. Will say I live in the '80s, so I could have gone just more crass. But I don't think your sensibilities will be hurt by anything in the movie.
Yeah, I think you played it very well. It worked really well in the movie, and I thought it was actually really funny, the reaction of the boss, just being like, here's some petty cash, it's nothing, by the way, don't sue.
The big deal is this week.
That's the word on the street.
Suffice to say, this is very important to us, and look, I know you're going to knock it out of the park, I know this. I just want everything to go off without a hitch, and these guys are a little old-fashioned, so I was wondering if you wouldn't mind wearing a dress to the meeting.
A dress? Wait, you think I'm gay?
No, I didn't say that. That's not something I mean, that's none of my business, Look, forget I said anything. Here's a little petty cash. It means nothing. Go buy yourself something nice. Don't sue. Get yourself some jeans, a new flannel shirt or something, or a dress. Forget I said anything. Forget it.
Yeah, that was great. I think, okay, Ben and I have talked about some lines we really liked. I asked you the question before about if there was anything you were disappointed in. I think at the same time, do you have a favorite line or exchange or scene in this movie, maybe something that you were proud of writing or it worked really well in the final product or anything like that?
I'm just proud of the new ending that we put on because I thought it works well. It shows the characters evolving, and I like that part of it. Sort of shows the full circle of the characters.
What was the old ending?
It was basically just not having the part where they're on the couch, and we didn't really have an ending.
So that whole framing device of the I guess interview, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was kind of added, after we were working on some things and thought that could be improved.
How much later was that filmed?
From the main movie, probably like 6 months, half a year later.
Oh wow!
Because you look significantly slimmer in that.
Yeah, for sure. I lost some weight for that part.
Was that so? That was the intention for that part, is that you lost some weight as a result of her changes.
Yeah,
we
kind of put that in there, but I just lost weight just because I felt like doing it at the time, and I didn't need it anymore after we shot the main scenes. And we were like, we could incorporate this. We could do this. We could use this as something. So, yeah, I'm proud of those moments.
I actually have to agree. I really liked that framing device. I think that was one of the things that immediately caught me, because when I watched the trailer, like I said, I was like, oh, rom-com with this body swap trope. I don't have high expectations. But then the framing device actually adds something to the characterization. And not only in the sense that I'm laughing, I love your line when you're like, I'm not used to having parts that people are attracted to or want to have sex with. Like, that's great. But the whole kind of, framing device of that interview, I think it works fantastically, because I don't even think of it as an interview. Like, I love that you never cut back and you're talking to like a news station or something. It's like you're speaking to the audience, and it's telling you, it's like, this was our story. This is how we grew as people. And I found that really interesting.
Yeah, I shamelessly ripped Dave Chappelle. Not really, but he has a lot. He has a line about how carrying drugs and being a woman is like the same thing as like you're carrying this valuable stuff that everyone wants.
Oh, shit.
So I kind of stole from him a little bit because I just saw a special right when that was going on.
Yeah. I think Ben and I have talked about that. Yeah.
But Ella, set me up for. I wasn't planning on saying that line, and Ella set me up for it. So I was like, I'm not used to people having. So yeah.
So that actually reminded me of when you first see CJ's house, and or whenever you talk to CJ about her house, you're like, you got too much desirable shit in there. That was a fantastic line. Also, I was reminded of it from
the whole thing of her describing how to make a security thing. I'm actually going to be doing a podcast called Fantasy House here. It got rescheduled, but where you describe your fantasy house and all the fantastical things you're going to put in it.
Oh,
so we'll hopefully. I don't think he'll watch the movie, but hopefully I can tie it into the movie by talking about that.
Yeah, what is it? The boar head comes out of the wall and the pentagram flips over in the floor.
Yeah. There's going to be even more where it's like poop smeared on the wall to like you flip the wall around and like so. Yeah, that'd be funny if like a robber went in and then they called the cops because it's so crazy.
I was about to rob this house, but it turns out I stumbled onto a satanic ritual.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That should just be your next movie.
Yeah. There was also an idea in my head of like, well, this is just too crazy. But it's like her coming out in a nurse's outfit, like a Halloween outfit, that's sort of sells the sex appeal too, but like coming out there with like a needle with like Kool-Aid in it or something, or like a turkey baster with Kool-Aid and being like, I'm going to inject you with this poison. Like he comes over and it's like, oh, it's just you. It's like, you think I was a robber or something? Like the idea she would sleep in a nurse's outfit with a fake syringe, like a turkey, like a fake syringe or something of poison, and like try to scare the robber away by like being a creepy nurse or something. I don't know. Like that was an idea I had. I never put in the screenplay or even pitched it because it's so crazy. But you can see where I was going with it. if I described it enough.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
That's definitely some off the wall shit that Rob would really enjoy.
Yeah, Ben just put it well. Yeah, I think Ben also. You mentioned earlier that our two leads. So of course you, Jimmy, and Ella Jordan. That their performances, both of your performances, are absolutely nailed. I would be remiss if I mentioned though. I love you in this movie. I love that, like the lines I've mentioned and stuff. But I do have to say, I think Ella Jordan steals it. She crushes her scenes in this movie.
Oh, great.
She's fantastic. And I want to see her do more, like, goofy, like, off-the-wall type of stuff, and, like, just seeing her, well, I guess her playing
That'd be
you
good for her
stuff.
and a lot of the other actors is, I would like that. I like that their performances stand out. Ella and Gunners have definitely stood out in the reviews.
Yes.
I'm kind of just doing my thing, but at least I won some best features for body swap, so I feel like I at least set them up. If they did well in a movie I wrote, then it's all good for everyone. And so people are like definitely liking her performance in Gunners, and I hope to, when I get this out, that's one of the main reasons, is not just to make money, is get it out there and get people to see people, and maybe they can get some parts in some things.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's what a good independent filmmaker, which you've clearly established you are, should do. Absolutely.
I said if you've seen the other podcasts, at least one, maybe, and some I don't even know if they've been out released yet. Some are like waiting in the wings. I said that I don't plan on being in anything other than my own projects. So I plan on improving everything I do in my projects. Yeah, I don't need to be hired for other people's projects. I want to see the other actors good and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that makes me think of two things. Just while we're on the topic, I do, since I mentioned the great performances, I'm interested to see if Ben agrees with me, because this is something we haven't talked about prior. The one performance in this movie that I really didn't care for was Katie Geralt, I believe her true name, her actress or stage name is, who plays Lisa, the co-worker of Ella. I didn't care for her. I thought she was a little too stale. Ben, what did you think about the subordinate, the co-worker?
I felt like the scenes with her had a different feeling to them. It very much felt like watching something that was filmed like a documentary or something whenever she was on the camera. But I didn't mind her character at all. I definitely... she seemed like maybe kind of a stale, pretentious person, not a bad actress.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it, is that her personality might have grinded with my viewing of the movie and understanding the rest of it. But yeah, I don't know.
People walk away a lot of different things. Like the World Fest Houston, she got a nomination. Katie Geralt is her name. But I said, I would say, did you say
I might have said Geralt. Geralt.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do like girl, like a dog. And I asked her
I'm
how
from
to
New York
properly,
originally. I do hard letters.
I only till I was making the trailer and had to have the announcer pronounce her name, that I asked her how her last name was pronounced. But there was another few ways, and I was like, it wasn't Gur that she gets.
Okay.
It's like something else she gets, but it's actually Jur, like giraffe. So
is it spelled like Geralt?
I think it's Giralt. If I don't have the IMDb pulled up, but I think that's what it is. But Ben, you're not wrong. It made me think of the Witcher character. Yes. And we're back to video games.
But they nominated her, and then another film festival, the guy up there was like, "Oh, I like how she's not the typical bad guy, and she's like nice for a bad guy. She's really not that bad." So I was like, "Oh," because some people think she's too mean of a character, and so it's different types of things.
No, I definitely didn't think she was too mean. She was fine. Like maybe somebody you don't enjoy working with in the office, but that's really
No, that's actually really interesting. I mean, that's one of the things I love about reviewing and critiquing movies, is that there's these differing opinions, for sure. But yeah, I just had to bring up, since we talked about the best, I think she was my least favorite performance. Not to say it was bad, it was just different. Everybody else I thought was great, even down to Wendy, hot Italian Wendy, as Roy says. She was fine. I loved her in the pizza scene.
Sounds like a Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pizza scene I found really strange because Roy was like, I can't show him the pizza because he doesn't want to know that I had pizza because we're supposed to be eating healthier. And the first thing she does is like, "Hey, do you want pizza?"
Yeah, I think it's because I caught her, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
and I love
caught
your
her, and
delivery
she's just like,
where you're like, "Don't tempt me with that."
Hey,
Hello.
would you like some pizza?
No, don't tempt me with that. I'm trying to avoid junk food.
Oh, oops. Okay, not doing that then.
We need to, like, catch up with Wendy's.
it's one of those things where you just like got to run with it.
Was that not scripted?
I think that was scripted, but I think maybe the way I envisioned it, we're doing these movies so fast that I'm not directing it, so I'm more focused on my own acting and forget to like say, oh, she's supposed to play it like, oh, you caught me while I have the pizza box in my hand. I might as well just offer you the pizza.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
There might not even be anything in that box, and I would, in the movie world, I bet you there's nothing in that box, but she's just saying it because she caught him with it.
She does in that scene hold the pizza box vertically, I think, while she's offering it to you.
Yes.
And if there was actually pizza in there, like that is a
It's getting
total
slid
sin.
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, maybe it's like congealed by then, all the cheese and stuff. It doesn't. We're really getting into the weeds of how it would work.
Yes. So with the performances, because you made me think of it. Something I was really interested in to ask you about, Jimmy, was when you wrote this script, or when you actually were getting it, in the process of being made and getting all the balls rolling and stuff like that. Did you always think of yourself in that character role? Did you write it for that, or was this kind of out of maybe not necessity, but out of your desire to be put forth as the front of your film?
Well, the latest screenplay I wrote, that's going to be the next one. It's called She's a Princess. I wrote with every actor in mind, and I won't be using all those actors, but I wrote it with certain people in mind.
Okay.
This one I didn't write with. Only person I wrote in mind was kind of me. And really, when I say that, I wrote me, the brother, and Ted, and didn't know how movies were made at all. I didn't know how movies were made at all. So I was like, well, someone will want to put some big name in this lead role, so I'll just try to finagle the brother. And if they say, well, we want Seth Rogen in the brother part, and then it's like, I'll finagle for the Ted role. Mm-hmm. And so that was my thinking, was that like somebody's going to really want this screenplay and make a movie out of it. I don't even know how to do that or anything. And so, yeah, I made it myself. And then, playing the lead, you don't have to pay, the bigger the part, the less days you have to pay to someone to do that part.
Sure.
That always works. Yeah.
That's really interesting because I think that's something that I think Ben and I can both, we felt the same way working on our own projects. We don't have any gravitas to get other people involved, so we think about ourselves in some of these roles. I think, Ben, we've talked about it with art, the stuff that I've written, the main character, I always try to put my own shoes in. So it's really cool to hear that, you're kind of, it's me. I'm going to write with what I know. And I think at the end of the day, with how good your performance is in the film, that's what lends that credence to it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Whatever you just said.
We're well past an hour now, so I'm surprised Jimmy's still with us, to be honest.
He asked me to do the heavy lifting, and that's, as Ben knows, that's what I can do.
Well, I hope to not make this too hard for you as an editor. So
no, I have to edit episodes with Ben regularly, so don't worry.
Right.
Hey-o!
Jimmy, you should listen to some episodes with us.
Okay. How long is the typical episode?
I'm glad you asked, because I was actually going to mention this to Ben yesterday and I forgot. I have added Ben and Zach, and I keep a spreadsheet. Well, I say I keep a spreadsheet and I share it with Ben and Zach. The average episode is 2 hours and 7 minutes for Cinemodities.
Okay.
So I mean, I got more. I'm not saying we're running out of steam. I got some more to talk about, Ben.
Okay, so yeah.
So
sounds like fun. Oh, well, the last one was 59 minutes. So, yeah.
Oh,
but the one before that was 3 hours. So you go hard. You go hard.
Was the last one the Adventure Time one?
Yeah, if Jimmy's looking at Cinemodities on like Spotify or Podbean or whatever, yes, the last one was literally Ben and I recorded that less than 24 hours ago, and I stayed up last night editing it so we could get it out.
It was trying to release it close to the release of the actual episode.
Yeah, we go hard on Adventure Time, or I think as we say in that episode, we don't fuck around with Adventure Time.
That's right. That's not a bad one to listen to, though, if you want to feel for what we sound like.
Yes. No, but I mean, I think other things, I have a little bit more I want to bring up with the movie, or questions for Jimmy, and then we'll get to our big end of Cinemodities. But Ben, were there any other scenes or questions that you wanted to bring up?
I do want to applaud. I don't have too much to say about it, but whenever you and CJ are like walking and talking after you realize that you've swapped bodies, you do this like little sideways skip thing, and it comes off great. I loved it. It's just like,
thanks.
I'm a kind of a playful girl in this giant body, and it works out perfect.
Yeah, he's definitely frantic, and I was trying to frantic myself out before shooting that scene. And so there's lots of takes where they're getting frustrated with me saying just all sorts of crazy things, like, because I have to say like 10 things in a row. And even though what's funny is we do that and then we just chop. But like on the day, it was like, say this and say that and say this. So it's like in a row, like it was going to be all one shot. It's like, how am I you? How am I me? What are we going to do about my pets? I couldn't come up with enough stuff, It wasn't written down. So I tried to make a list of, the what's, and they were throwing things at me. That was a hard scene in some ways because it's also moving. Sure. We don't have a moving camera much in the movie.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Sure. Yeah, the technical limitations. Okay.
It's sort of a style choice that we do everything on sticks, as they say, on the tripod.
Okay, right on. No, Ben, I'm glad you brought that moment up. That was something I didn't write down, but I definitely thought of as well, and that's good fun for sure.
It was kind of reminiscent. There's a scene in Friends where Ross is getting a new apartment, and Rachel and Phoebe are trying to distract him from seeing Monica and Chandler across the way, and he does this like leg flip up in the air thing, and it's just like, like not to say that Ross is manly, but like a typical man, like jumping up and doing like a girly, like excited thing. I definitely appreciated that. So
nice. I think it's strangely the very start of the movie, but we've taken this long to get to it. This was probably the thing that hooked me, and when I first started watching it, I was like, I'm probably gonna like this. The faux Lifetime Christmas movie that plays at the beginning.
Hallmark is the word you're looking for.
Hallmark,
not
Lifetime. I mean,
Lifetime is like wife murdered spouse shit.
Well, we only see the end of it, Ben. That might have been the plot of the rest of it.
Fair enough.
But I not only loved how ham-fisted that parody was, and then I fell in love with, we get so much of the frame on that TV set with this fake movie on it, and then it cuts to you, Jimmy, just slovenly on the couch, looking so uninterested. And I was like, they've hooked me in the first opening 4 minutes of this movie. So was that something that you wrote and you were really planning on maybe... My thought was that you were trying to juxtaposition the goofiness and silliness and hamminess of those types of movies with your own rom-com? That was just my thought, but I wanted to hear it from you. Or what you thought about it.
I just sort of like wanted something that was, so out there in a lot of ways, that just like this thing's happening and this thing's happening, and you get a lot of stuff happening in like under a minute.
Yeah, the Santa looking dude comes in. Earl, have you been there the whole time? And it's just so over the top. It's fantastic. I think right before we see that, we do get the cut during some of the credits where you laying on the couch, you roll over and your phone and 3 television remotes fall off of your body. I would have used more remotes. That's my only gripe with that scene. It would have been hilarious if there were like 7 or 10 remotes on your body for some reason.
Yeah, there's definitely More room for remotes, maybe in the sequel.
this Body Swap 2. This time, there's more remotes.
Yeah, Body Swap 2, swapping bodies.
Is this movie, like, it doesn't take place around Christmas, does it? Like, is this just a Christmas Hallmark movie on TV out of season?
It says Christmas in July in the corner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah. If you ever see that little tree, it's like and has a little overlay in the corner.
Okay.
Like you would on the TV.
So one other thing is, what inspired? So there's we talked about the ringleader and Starkiller and all them, and then at the beginning there's this point where your character, I think it's your character, is saying something like the writing's right across the ass, like they're begging you to look at it, and then it shows the writing and it says Saint Mary. Mm-hmm. Are those custom made shorts, or are there ass writing shorts that advertise Catholic saints?
It's like there's schools named St. Mary, and it maybe like school shorts, but we had to make them for the movie.
Okay.
Allie got them as a gift after.
Ooh, nice.
What was the inspiration for using St. Mary? Like, just
the juxtaposition of having St. Mary's on your ass is funny to me.
I agree. It's funny. I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, and I noticed it today. I was like, oh shit, that says St. Mary. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
I'm wondering if the Spanish-speaking audience will really hate that or not.
That's a good question.
Santa Maria, yes.
Yeah,
that's a really good
Spanish
point, Ben,
Catholic.
because I once again, like you mentioned earlier, Jimmy, that's trying to subvert the audience and what they're looking at in this movie or expecting from this movie. It could have been so easily just been pink across the ass, because that's what everybody knows. Yeah,
tasty or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of shit like that. But for it to be the name of a Catholic saint, I was like, this is good. This is a good joke.
Yeah.
Those three girl characters are just some of the. I think that's what I love in movies, are those little touches, and I think this movie is so filled with little touches that it works as a whole. And like I said, the cupcake scene, that type of stuff. That's great.
Am I supposed to know you?
Am I supposed to know you? Yes. And then even, I think one line we didn't mention, which I really loved, which I think Ben and I, ever since we knew this discussion was going to happen and we had watched the movie and discussed it, the frenemy of my frenemy is my, frenemy? Like, that line is so, I think, easy, but it's one of the great things that it's not easy until you've heard it. Like, I don't think I ever would have thought of that on my own. Once I hear it, though, I'm like, of course, that's a great line.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll steal from me somewhere in Hollywood. Get ready for all the bodies. That's why Body Swap needs to be a success, because they'll have all my lines in all of these other movies.
I think they're already copying you. There's a movie called Freaky out in theaters right now.
Yeah, they did. They probably did copy me. Because Body Swap was very successful for how small it is. It's
successful.
I don't know. Yeah, but it wasn't like, it was a place where you could kind of. I'll give them this. They didn't steal outright the romantic comedy with the thing, but their poor marketing budget in that. They may have not taken from that, but that was like I think the trailer is out while that was in production. So, and they got out before me though, technically.
I will say that Zach told me about Freaky before you ever emailed us, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And Zach and I commiserated because we were like, this looks very strange. The trailer had some goofy moments. But the thing that we really got into, and I still hate to this day, the movie should not be titled Freaky. It should be titled Freaky Friday the 13th.
Oh my goodness!
That's a golden opportunity, and they missed that opportunity.
And they released it on a Friday the 13th. They messed that up big.
That could have been a great film.
But you know why you mentioned that? There was literally a scene I was thinking of, a post-credits. We can't shoot this quickly, and also we didn't have, the kid that's like talking in variety, speaking da 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 da.
Sure.
So he probably has an interest in that stuff. Gunnar is pitching Freaky Friday the 13th. I'm not making this up. to him, and he goes, hard pass. The kid goes, hard pass on it. And
Nice.
so, like, I totally forgot about it. I never wrote it down. I didn't even really pitch it. I might have pitched it to Gunner, but I don't know. It was like, it might have been written down even, but it was not in the main screenplay. It might have been written down in like the daily screenplays we sort of have, where it's like, this might be a good idea of a Freaky Friday the 13th of the title.
That is so cool.
But yeah, that's kind of kismet that you said that. That was actually...
That's the only reason, because of the one theater in Fort Collins where I live that's open, they were playing Freaky. And when Zach was telling me about it, I was like, oh, maybe, I'll try and entice Justin to see it. But one, Justin is banned from seeing movies ever again on this podcast or in life, as Ben knows. But two, it's not called Freaky Friday the 13th. That's my biggest issue.
It might have been that might have been an idea for its name, and then they would have gotten in trouble or something. B2 on.
Zach and I did an episode maybe 2 years ago, maybe a little less than 2 years ago, where we just discussed the Friday the 13th legal battle that was going on, which ended the video game and ended the reboot that was supposed to come out. So I could totally
love that
see
video
that.
Game. Yeah.
You say you love that video game?
Yeah, I love talking shit to people as Jason and talking shit to Jason as one of the camp counselors.
I am so glad
before
that you
Fortnite was Fortnite and Among Us. I like anyone I can talk to people on it.
Whenever I edit Cinemodities podcast episodes, I play that video game in the background because it's so easy. When I die, I can focus on editing, and if like I have to fix the boat or something, oh, this is great. Zach and I have played that a bunch, and I wish they didn't shut down the servers a few days ago, and it's almost impossible for me on the PS4 to find a game. But that was a fantastic video game because it was like you were making your own horror movie every time you played.
Yeah. I don't know why Dead by Daylight took off over that one.
Oh,
yeah, somehow did. Yeah, it's a good game. I liked it.
I think Ben is not saying anything because he's more shocked that I'm talking about a video game, because usually when I discuss it with him, I say video games are cancer.
Well, I'm going to have to eat. And so we
need to wrap up then, I guess.
Yes, let's do some wraps.
That is fine. I think if Ben is in agreement, we've covered enough. Then the last bit of our episode, we always ask our main questions. Jimmy, I have to say, even though I told you about them in the email, I think we are going to omit your thoughts on Cinemodities and Late Night because you are in and wrote and produced the movie. But yes, we do want to hear your snacks. So I think very quickly, Ben, you and I can get out of the way Cinemodities and Late Night. And of course, Cinemodities is our classification. Late Night is our recommendation. I think for Cinemodities, for me, I'm going to say no. It's one of the better rom-coms I've ever seen with the body swap idea, and I really enjoy it. But I don't think there's anything truly odd about it. Jimmy, in this conversation, when you've pitched these other weird ideas that you had, that might be a cinemodity, like the woman sleeping in nursing clothes. If you want a cinemodity status,
or a nurse clothes.
Yeah, make that movie.
Nursing clothes is a different thing.
That's true.
Whole different thing.
So it's a no for me for cinemodities, but Late Night, absolutely. I think we started this way. This movie is such good fun. I think it's something we need more in the modern era than the cookie-cutter superhero nonsense, the tropes we've seen, like you mentioned, Jimmy, the prequels and the sequels. I would love to show this to somebody. I would love for other people to watch it, and I think for Late Night, it's a perfect fit, also because it is not a very long movie, which Ben and I really love. We love movies that are easily digestible, that lend themselves to good conversation. So I have to go absolutely. And I once again recommend everybody check this out. Find it on bodyswapmovie.com, which Jimmy's going to pitch later. But Ben, I'll throw it over to you. What do you think about Cinemodities and Late Night?
Unfortunately, no dissent today. Cinemodities, that's going to be a no. Late Night, absolutely. It's good fun. Yeah, I don't have anything really more to say about that other than go give Jimmy your money, and when you're done giving him your money, give us your money.
Give him a Patreon. The money is getting more worthless by the day, so like that's you true. Just might as well shed it.
That's right.
Get some crypto, get whatever you're supposed to put it in, because get some food at the grocery. Make sure you got your food and you don't need to pay rent ever again. What are you? They're gonna kick you out of your house, ever? Seems like you can just live in anything. I might as well. I mean, they got a guy just living in the White House for free now. So if it's not one guy, it's another guy living in there doing. I don't know what they're doing half the time. They're telling us to do things, and they don't even know what they're talking about.
16 bedrooms, 4 of them are for my dogs.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to get rid of this one fat orange guy that doesn't know anything about the virus for this other dementia-ridden, lobotomized guy that doesn't know anything about the virus. Listen to them tell you how to live your life.
Oh, God.
It's like, okay.
Ben, I think we can agree. Jimmy would love our rants on Patreon about politics, which aren't even about politics. They're more about ideas surrounding the concept of politics.
Yeah, Jimmy, I think that you might get a kick, Rob, if you distill some stuff and want to pass it his way, he can advertise for us.
Oh, man.
I know he's really into that. He talked about it earlier, how he likes to advertise for free.
We did it. It only took us like 2 hours of recording, but we've loosened Jimmy enough up to talk about politics, and it turns out we're all of the same mindset.
Everybody is done.
Oh, that's great. So I think that brings us to our last big thing. Of course, like I said to you at the start of this episode, Jimmy, that this is more of a board meeting for our restaurant. And now all 3 of us can pitch some ideas for snacks or events or whatever that add to the Cinemodities restaurant, which is totally real, everybody. I'll stress that again. I think this might be the easiest one that we're probably all in agreement of. Pizza Pop-Tarts.
So I actually was going to pitch that we sell Hot Pockets and just call them Pizza Pop-Tarts, because that already fucking exists.
Well, but the
that's in the microwave.
The marinara will be on the outside of the Pizza Pop-Tarts.
Oh.
The marinara's on the inside of the
I guess
Pizza
it does have a crisper sleeve, but it doesn't really crisp them as much as a toaster oven.
That's fair.
Maybe finish it off in the toaster oven.
That's what we'll do. We'll microwave a Hot Pocket and then put it in the toaster, and then sell it as Pizza Pop-Tarts.
That is very low cost for us, so perfect. Absolutely. I started this by talking about the caviar orgy. You can only imagine how much the caviar for a caviar orgy would cost, so I'm fine with cutting the cost on Pizza Pop-Tarts. That's fine by me.
Dope.
Another one that I had, which I really, really like for this movie, we should call it, because we do have a menu, because of course, Jimmy, this is a real restaurant. What am I saying? They have a menu. You know this. You know what a restaurant is.
We even have a QR code for the menu. So
I would love for somebody to order. They can order a beverage, but it would be, for maybe an additional cost, the body swap beverage, in which whatever beverage they order is served out of a paper shredder that is plugged in. And I think we also, I didn't introduce to Jimmy earlier, most of the things on our menu damage the customer. So the paper shredder being plugged in with a liquid in it is totally on brand, just so you know.
that's right.
Ben, what did you have? Any thoughts on snacks for you?
I was going to say that you could, as a customer, it has to be the last customer in your party, but they can order your whole meal as a body swap meal, and everybody gets random food that somebody else ordered.
Okay. I like that.
I like that one too. That's a good one.
What are you, just to clarify, because oh God, this is where we're getting, like Jimmy said, we need to wrap up, but now we're getting into my favorite stuff where I get to actually say for real, even though this restaurant is totally real, totally. I do keep a record of every snack that's ever said on this podcast in a spreadsheet. Like there's a comprehensive list of everything we talk about in these last bits. I need to clarify, Ben, are we swapping meals at the table, or are we swapping meals between tables? Like a group could come in and be like, hey, guess what? Your table was body swapped with this other table. You're getting their food. What do you think?
I was definitely thinking at the same table, so it's just within your party.
But the problem is then that they could just switch back, right?
No, that's when we throw the paper shredders at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, I wonder if, though, it feels like a YouTube video, more like a YouTube challenge where I'm going to order your meal for you.
Nice.
I'm open to charging a little bit extra and swapping table meals. It's just the timing might be a little delicate.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, since we're dealing with an infinite void of a restaurant, timing is always an issue. Good point, Ben. Good point. I think there's one snack I want to do as a transition to our total outro. But I really liked that the brother in some scene near the beginning is eating Leapin' Lemur's cereal. I did not know that was real until I researched it after seeing it in this movie. But Leapin' Lemurs, what's wrong with that?
That sounds delicious.
So Ben usually comes in hot with one snack. He gave it already. I don't know if Ben has any other, but Jimmy, since I told you that we were going to pick some snacks, were there anything that you wanted to pitch for this restaurant relating to this movie? It doesn't have to be truly from this movie. It could be something you think of. The last time we had a director on for a movie, he didn't understand what we were really telling him, and he just said, "Oh, Chinese food," because we ate that during the wrap party. So you can take it from anywhere, you know. Were there any snacks that you had that you wanted to pitch?
I like anything sweet. It's good.
Okay.
I feel like we talk so much about food. It's like the popcorn and all that stuff.
So,
and yeah.
Here, Jimmy. Jimmy wants to make the cupcake experience part of the restaurant, so you can actually have 3 teenage girls come up to you and shove a cupcake in your face. And
yeah, that would cost quite a lot of money for some people. Would pay a lot.
Oh yeah, I think that'll
I'm
be
gonna make more than the movie from that experience.
that is great. Oh man. No. So that's great. I think I have succeeded in my goal of completely blindsiding Jimmy with the concept of this podcast. It's been good fun. Ben, were there any other snacks that you had? Or are you ready to kind of get into our wrap up?
Psychopaths popcorn.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it's real simple. It's real straightforward. It's just mixed popcorn. You could probably get any 3 flavors you want, though. Like, I'm sure that the Cinemati's restaurant has the ability to put other flavors on popcorn.
I do have to say, about maybe a year and a half ago, Zach and I did an episode where I pitched blood-flavored popcorn. So there we go.
so you know, any 3 flavors of popcorn you want, as long as they're not all the same.
Yes, yeah. Got to get that mixing in there. Okay. I think my last snack to lead this into our outro is, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, but your production studio is Ice Beer Milk?
Yes.
I would love to serve beer and milk mixed together with some ice in it.
Yeah. And that was, I was thinking maybe that should be a different type of logo. The logo that where you have the ice go in the glass and the milk and what is it? Ice beer milk. So ice beer and then the milk. And then, but that's actually, I was thinking you were going to say serve ice beer and milk, and that is called every convenience store because they have that listed. That was taken from, it says ice beer, milk lottery, all those things at the top of all.
Oh, that's
all
awesome.
Of them. Yeah, so the idea that maybe you'd see my logo, my studio around the place was an idea.
Fantastic. Well, I guess with that being said, we are so happy to have your addition to the restaurants. We're so happy to have Body Swap as an addition to the Cinemodities pantheon of what we've discussed. I cannot thank you enough, and I think I speak for Ben and as well as Zach, who's not here, that we are so happy you reached out to us. We're so happy that we got to have this discussion. We hope you had fun. We will advertise this to death because this is a movie that we actually really support, and I think that we said it throughout this entire episode. Independent filmmakers are what should be supported in this day and age. So, Jimmy, thank you so much. Please give your last pitches for whatever you would like to and where people can find you, your movie, or anything like that.
Thank you, Rob and Ben. Go to bodyswapmovie.com, and it's on there. You can buy it and rent it now.
And we will put that in the show notes.
Absolutely. Yes.
So people, our guests, cinema audience, can go over there and check out and support Jimmy Kustes. And we will hopefully be sending you some clips from this episode so you can plaster it around.
Yeah. Usually when we have guests, we try to maybe when I edit this, because I'm going to have to edit it pretty quickly, I will find some clips and I'll send them your way if you want to share it with anybody. Because like I said, we hope you had some fun with this episode.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, Ben, any final thoughts on Body Swap, anything like that?
I'm gonna say today, for this one episode only, you don't have to worry about trying to support our Patreon because you need to go support Jimmy.
Nice.
But fucking after that, god damn it, support our Patreon.
It costs a little bit more to make a movie than a podcast, so it would help. But yes, support their podcast. It will be going on for several years.
Just a tad more for a movie. Well,
All
I
right.
think that brings us to, there's always one thing we do. We talk about how do we end this episode. And Jimmy, if you don't know, our outro music is always some type of music from the film or relating to the film played in reverse. And I think I do have to say there's some great intro credits music that gets played in Body Swap that we will play in reverse and lead us out. So once again, Jimmy, thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. And I hope sincerely that in the immortal words of Zach, who's not here, he said, don't embarrass us too much. I hope we embarrassed ourselves the exact right amount. Once again, thank you, Jimmy. And hopefully maybe we'll see you in the future for whenever your next project comes out. We'll be happy to watch it.
Oh, thank you so much. Bye.
Here got Savannah will be visiting at the ideas. Said there no fact comes no one a syrup or love but it isn't none but I knew you on the her alarm stones like a them was over off beer look.
What is this movie Body Swap? Haven't we seen bodies being swapped before? Come on, and who's this Jimmy Kustes guy?
Rob?
Is this a candid camera movie? Is he just playing himself? I mean,
Rob.
What are we doing talking about this movie?
Rob!
He's on this podcast, isn't he? Oh, God, that's so stupid. I love it.
I'm glad you know it's stupid.
Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so, Ben, whenever you are set, feel free to kick us off.